What is going on? My name is Jake Hofer. I'm a real estate broker in the state of Illinois and co-owner of Exodus. And today we are bringing you a conversation from the Land Podcast with Neil Hauger. Neil Hauger is a Whitetail properties agent in the state of Wisconsin and a landowner. And we're talking all about how to create more income off recreational parcels in a unique and fashion that most people probably haven't thought of. So if you're looking to buy a piece of ground and want to find out a way to make a little extra money to help offset those payments, or you already own a parcel and you want to learn how to make more. So hope you guys find the conversation valuable. If you do, hit the subscribe button. Now let's get right into it. I think that's very important when people have a straight rec piece and maybe there's no tillable on it. You want to create some level of income on it and show that it's not sole personal use.
So let's talk about that because that's key.
Yeah.
So on my melon property, my melon 140, we'll call it, I built a cabin on that and it was out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, Melon, if anybody's been in northern Wisconsin, is like really a nothing town. There's not much there, but I built that cabin on it and it was really nice and it had nice amenities and I rented it on VRBO. And people said to me, who's going to go to Melon, Wisconsin to rent this place? Nobody believed it. I said, no, if you build it, they will come kind of thing. Right.
Yeah.
So I started doing the good photography, some drone. I put it up there, and I rented that, and I would bring in about $15,000 to $23,000 a year income renting it from basically after New Year's Eve, because I always went up there till then, through probably September 1, where I would shut it down. So that warm season, I would rent it, and it would rent, and I had a gal that would clean it. And I would pass on fees and, I'd do the work, the rentals through VRBO, and it rented as much as I cared to. So I was able to show a series over about 8 or 9 years of renting it, consistently making $15,000 to $20,000 a year. I moved that into the next one and I just kept that process. I still rent my new farm, which I call Indian Creek. I just shut it down last week because I'm now going to hunt it. But again, I'm renting it. Now I'm getting about $400 a night. And I, sleep like 10. So the average rental brings me a couple $1,000s a week. And I do probably, I would say this year I did 10 or 12 weeks. So you could do the math on that. And on average, I think, if I did 14 weeks, 13, 14, that'd be more than enough. And I still hunt it.
Yeah. I mean, I see that approach with a handful of people. And even if it's just a house with some rec ground in the back and you just want to buy it and then rent the house out. I mean, there's a lot of creative ways to extract cash from properties that otherwise you would not be able to, which is huge.
Yeah. Having somebody in your property, it's something you kind of got to get used to. I'll be honest with you. I have cameras up as security outside the property, and you see people that are, I don't know, less than desirable. Let's just put it that way for whatever reason. You see people partying, you just see them sitting around drinking beer and they're really enjoying your place, which is fine. It's kind of like, that's what you want. But then on the other hand, it's like you come up there and there's a beer can in the bushes and they shot off fireworks. I had a bunch of people take a slip and slide and it was hotter than heck. And these grown men were sliding on this plastic. And then they must have carried every blade of grass into my cabin because it was everywhere. And there was a stack of wet towels because the AC went down and it was Nicaragua hot that weekend. And they were wrapping wet towels around their head after they had put them in the freezer and they got them cold. And then they were wrapping them around their head. And there was a pile, literally like 50 towels. Every towel I had in the place was wet on the carpet. And you just kind of shake your head, but I kind of keep reminding myself, well, this is like the cost of these guys are paying for my farm.
Yeah.
They're literally paying down my farm in huge chunks every month. And it's just what you got to do. But, creating income, I thought of allowing beekeepers to put some bees out there. I thought of having habitat days where I maybe charge, $25 and I'll get some hot dogs and some pop and some chips. But, I could show that I've done things out there. I'm utilizing the property and I'm making a little bit of revenue, along with the rentals. Those are some things that you can do. Log it, obviously, rent it for farming. There's a lot of ways you can create money flow.
Yeah, but I think it's crucial for a 1031. So that's very interesting. So that's kind of where you're settled up now. And then that kind of answers the question because I was going to ask how you found the deal, but it was from the deal flow of your current job. So, okay, let me ask you this, just to back up. I had another thought. So if you bought a piece that was straight, a straight rec piece. So let's say this hardwoods, for example, so no tillable, no income. And let's say you didn't plan to log it for the next 5 years. Would you build a shack to rent out on Airbnb just to produce some level of income, like an outhouse, and like the cheapest you could make something with, 2 sets of bunk beds and an
Yeah.
outhouse.
Yeah. My quick answer is yes, because I think it's all about marketing. If you can build a, very Spartan existence where maybe you have a garage package and you have a couple bunks and a wood stove, even if you could bring in a water cooler so they had a little bit of water, and if it had electricity, I would say internet is almost a must have, especially the generation that's going to rent it. But it's not mandatory. But it's a nice have, and you can stage it nicely. Get some nice throw rugs, and get a couple decent chairs and a card table, and the better the amenities you can get, the more rental opportunities you have. But even something as low as I've cleaned out a space and I've got a fire pit. I might have an electric. Maybe I spent a couple $1,000 and I brought electric in so you could plug in a generator and you could have a camp. People will rent it. And there's actually sites that do that are specifically for, it's called glamping is one of them. All the way, they got tent sites all the way up to, yurts. So yes, you could clear out a spot, build a little place, or just clear out a spot and rent it, and people will pay you money.